Have you ever noticed that sometimes life feels lighter when it fits inside a coin? When, instead of dozens of possible paths, you only have two. And in that narrowing, your truth is revealed with an almost uncomfortable clarity. There's something liberating about having fewer options, when your mind stops running in circles and starts to see only what truly matters. It's as if the noise fades away and the whisper of your soul can finally be heard. We live in an age where we've been told that freedom is having infinite options. More courses, more clothes, more apps, more places to visit, more lifestyles to try on. And this narrative sounds tempting because it seems that the more choices we have, the more powerful we become. But there's a detail almost no one tells you. The more options you have, the harder it is to decide, and the less satisfied you are after you've made your choice. It's a paradox. It's like we're constantly in front of an endless menu, flipping through the pages, but never actually ordering anything. The hunger grows, but so does the indecision. The Stoic philosopher Seneca already warned, "To him who does not know where he is going, no wind is favorable." And if we're honest, that's exactly what an excess of options does to us. It leaves us adrift, spinning in circles, always with the feeling that maybe there's a better option we haven't seen yet. The excess of open doors creates the illusion of freedom, but in practice, it traps us in an endless hallway where we don't truly live anything. Something curious happens when life gives us few options. The superfluous disappears. The essential gains weight. The rest stops mattering. Maybe you've experienced this during a crisis. When an urgent problem arises, an illness, a financial cut, an unavoidable decision, suddenly the whole world boils down to one or two clear paths. And, paradoxically, the clarity you were searching for finally appears. It's as if life is saying, "Now that I've eliminated the excess, can you hear me?" Lao Tzu, the Taoist master, said, "Simplicity is the highest form of spiritual sophistication. And simplicity is not scarcity. Simplicity is focus. It's about eliminating what distracts you so you can listen to what truly matters. It's the courage to let go of everything that is excess, even if it causes some initial discomfort. It's understanding that simple isn't poor. Simple is pure." Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the more anxious we become and the less satisfied we are with any choice we make. Because with every decision, a part of us mourns all the other options we left behind. In the field of spirituality, this is very visible. Some people spend years jumping from master to master, from technique to technique, accumulating tools and rituals, but without ever going deep into a single path. It's like collecting keys to doors we never open. The accumulation gives the feeling of progress, but in reality, it's just moving in circles. When life fits inside a coin, we don't need 1,000 analyses. We can simply flip it, and in the moment it's in the air, we already know what we want it to land on. It's not the coin that decides. It's your heart that, in that instant, reveals itself. This instant is magical, because in it the mind stops calculating and the true feeling appears. And almost always, what we feel in that moment is what we already knew before, but didn't have the courage to admit. Why do we resist simplicity so much? Because keeping many options open gives us the illusion of control. We think that as long as we don't close doors, we have more power over what's to come. But in practice, this only keeps us paralyzed. It's like carrying a heavy suitcase full of things, just in case you need them someday, and never being able to really travel. Open doors aren't freedom, they're a burden. Krishnamurti said something powerful. Freedom is not in choice, but in the absence of choice, when the mind sees clearly. When we have few options, or even none at all, we are pushed toward this clear vision. And then, we either move forward or we retreat. But we can no longer pretend that we're just thinking about it. In personal development, Limiting choices is an act of maturity. It's like pruning a tree. You cut off some branches not to weaken it, but so that the remaining ones can grow stronger. If you committed each day to only what truly matters, your energy would stop being so scattered, and would start to create real results. Clarity doesn't come from doing everything, but from doing the essential with depth. Saying no to invitations, opportunities, and even to people who aren't aligned with your path isn't arrogance. It's self-respect. It's preserving space for the essential to flourish. And this takes courage, because saying no means accepting that you won't be everywhere, that you won't please everyone, that you won't live every possible life. It's about accepting to live your life, not all lives. In a spiritual awakening, an excess of options is like a fog. Trying to see too far ahead is useless when you can't see your own next step. That's why so many spiritual traditions talk about the narrow gate or the middle path. Clarity doesn't come from an abundance of choices, but from the purity of presence. And this presence only flourishes when the noise dies down. When a Zen monk sweeps the floor, he isn't choosing between 50 types of brooms or 30 different ways to hold the handle. He just sweeps. And in that simplicity, he finds freedom. Because the act isn't contaminated by doubt or comparison, it is surrendered completely to the moment. It is said that a disciple once asked a master what the secret to a balanced life was. The master placed 2 stones in the palm of his hand and said, "Choose one." Confused, the disciple asked, "But shouldn't there be more options?" The master smiled. "When you think you need more options, it's because you don't trust what you already know." The disciple closed his eyes, touched the stones, and picked one. The master said, "See? You already knew. You just needed to stop looking." When life seems confusing, we can ask ourselves simple questions that work like a coin toss. Does this bring me closer to or move me further away from who I want to be? Does this expand or contract my energy? Does this feed or empty my soul? These questions work because they force us to see what matters. And almost always, the answer is already within us even before we finish the question. There are moments when we have no choice. A door closes, a path breaks, someone leaves. And while at first this seems like a loss, with time we realize that this narrowing was exactly what we needed to move forward. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The obstacle is the way." When life removes options, it also removes distractions. And without distractions, what's left is what's essential. The coin is just a symbol. The real work is trusting in the instant of choice. It's not the quantity of doors that defines your freedom, but the courage to walk through the one that is in front of you. Living while trying to keep all your options open is like trying to breathe by holding your breath. Sooner or later, you have to let go. And when you let go, you realize that the flow was always there, waiting for your step. Life gets better when it fits on a coin because, at that point, there's no room left for distractions. What remains is what really matters. And faced with that, there's no longer an excuse not to live. Because when the options are reduced, the path stops being a question of choice and becomes a matter of courage. Today, before you sleep, grab a coin. Hold it between your fingers. Think about something you've been putting off deciding. Toss the coin in the air. And before you see the result, notice, what were you hoping it would land on? That is your answer. And it didn't come from the coin. It came from within. If this reflection has made space for more clarity inside you, keep that window open. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content that strengthens your presence and your essence. And in the comments, write, what decision in your life would you put on a coin today? Your answer might inspire others to do the same. And if you want to stay in this vibration, watch the next video suggested on the card. Maybe it's exactly what you need to continue your journey. peace and light.